Beast Wars Episode 13, Dark Designs. Now, very similar to the Guerrilla Warfare episode, we have a Maximal kind of going crazy in this one, and it was really cool. It was done in a different way. It wasn't like with Optimus when he was infected with like the bug thing and it made him a berserker. And this, Rhinox actually gets captured. So Optimus was just hit with the thing, which backfired anyway because he was supposed to be a coward. But Rhinox is actually captured by the Predacons, and it's because Optimus realizes early on they have like a fight scene, and he's like, "Man, I may have underestimated Rhinox." And they have like this whole fight scene, and it's all the Predacons and it's all the Maximals minus Tigatron, I believe. And so they're in this crazy shootout. The Maximals are, at the bottom of this cliff, and the Predacons are at the top, and they're just shooting down at them and stuff. And I think this is like the first episode where the whole team was there, because normally, and this is something I thought was so weird, I was like, they always go in pairs, and that's why they always end up having to fight, because it'll always be like two members leave the base, and then the rest of the Maximals are back home, while pretty much all the Predacons always leave the base. And I'm like, why do they only go in pairs? So this is like finally they had an episode where just all the Maximals were there at once. And they're, they have the low ground, so they're just being shot at. And Rhinox is, kind of looking at the area, and he's shooting at this cliff, and he brings all the rocks down because he knows that that'll do more damage than just shooting at the Predacons. So Megatron is like, we need to get him because he might actually be of more use to us than I was expecting. So they actually end up capturing him and kind of reprogramming him to be a Predacon, and it kind of changes his color scheme like a little. It basically tones down his colors because he's like very brown and sort of a bright green, and it tones him down. It almost makes the brown like a slight. It has like a slight purple hue on it, and the green is a much more washed out sort of green. So he ends up in their base as one of the Predacons, and Megatron is like, we now have not only another Predacon, but we have a really powerful Predacon on our team. And then the Maximals have to figure out how are we going to save our buddy. And Optimus is kind of like, I think we should probably just wait and see what happens. Pretty much was his plan. And they have a really funny thing because Megatron always is like, yes, like that's like his thing in this show for some reason. And so they had this part when the team is like, Optimus, what are we going to do? How are we going to save Rhinox? He's like, we might not need to. Megatron might have done something, a little bit greater than he can handle. And then basically they had him turn towards the camera, and he's like, yes, to kind of reference that Megatron always says that. And I was like, that was a weird thing to do, that they made him turn towards the camera, or even say that in general. But it was interesting that they had him say that. So his plan was like, we'll just wait and see what happens. And he was pretty much right, because Rhinox goes in there, and instead of just being a Predacon for Megatron, he's just doing his own thing. He's kind of like Tarantulas times 3, I guess, because still don't know what Tarantulas is up to. But he's in the base, and it's like, oh, because something goes wrong where Megatron is trying to scan for something else, and he's like, something's missing or whatever. He's like, oh, that's crazy. And he was like, I hope you have insurance or something. He was like being super sarcastic about it. And so then Megatron sends Scorponok to fix the problem. And he opens up the thing, and it's like, oh, this chip is missing. And Rhinox is like, oh, that's crazy. And then, of course, they show he has the chip in his hand, and he crushes it. And as Scorponok goes off to this other side of the room, Rhinox goes, and they're like these big pillars. Or they aren't pillars. They're like a bunch of cargo containers stacked on top of each other. And he just pushes him down on Scorponok, who, once again, should have been dead. Like, his head, they literally do, like, the 2D thing where his head gets crushed. And I was like, they just blow them up, and they fall apart all the time. Like, I don't know how they could actually die outside of falling in lava. That seems to be the only actual thing that could really kill them, because they get shot up, they fall apart, they get crushed. Nothing seems to matter to them whatsoever, and it's really funny. But that's pretty much all Rhinox does, is he kind of sets them up and he destroys things from the inside, even though he's technically on their team. Like, there is no thing where he's like fighting against the programming. He's just kind of being a dick as a Predacon, which I guess kind of fits because that's what they do. So, he goes through, and basically all he's doing is just destroying the base and fighting them from the inside, all on his own. And then the Maximals kind of get there towards the end of the episode, and it's like, yep, he's just screwing stuff up. He's like, especially because he's the tech guy, so he'll be messing with some stuff and it'll mess up this part of the ship or that part of the ship. And then in the end, he's just flat out fighting people because he's super strong, so he can do that as well. So he's just beating everybody up through the whole freaking thing. And then it gets to the end, and it's like, all right, well, Maxwell's kind of just come in at the last second. It's like, all right, we got him. And they basically knock him out and take him back home, and then they cure him, and that's it. Because he was just beating up the Predacons the entire episode, all on his own, because Megatron's plan screwed up. And, actually, no, they didn't even save him. Megatron did it himself, because he was like, this guy's just going to screw us over. So he was the reason that Rhinox got turned back, because he basically was able to do like a final push, and he kicked him back into the machine, and he just set it off to rewrite him as a Maximal again. It was pretty much just like, get the F out, because you keep beating us up. So he actually turns him back, and then the Maximals all take off with Rhinox. And they have like this really cheesy ending where I think it was Cheetor. He was like, Rhinox, what's it like to be, to be a Predacon? And he's like, it's like having 5 gigabytes of rage and a 3 gigabyte RAM. And they have the stupidest cheese. It's like old 80s G.I. Joe laugh where they make like the dumb joke at the end of the episode and everyone just like loses their shit. Like, it's the funniest thing they ever heard. And so everybody's laughing. Then it goes to Dinobot, and he was super pissed. Like, run these a-holes and just laughing it up. Like, he's still, on the inside, he's still a Predacon. And it was just kind of funny. It was like, it was the cheesiest little ending, and they were all just laughing like crazy. And like they're in like this weird little grove area where it's like it's just like they've never shown this spot before, but they were all just relaxing, and it's like they were just chilling, and it's super beautiful, and they're in trees and stuff like that, and it's a little area and stuff, and they're just cracking up over this stupid joke like it's the funniest thing he ever said. He was just telling them, and then Optimus starts laughing. He's always like the first person to laugh, and then everybody else starts laughing like it's the funniest thing ever. And I was like, this is such a cheesy ending, but it was almost a little worth it to see Dinobot get super mad. Like these guys are a bunch of dumb freaking a-holes, and they're pissing me off a little because they're laughing about what it's like to be a Predacon. So I was like, it almost makes it worth it just for him being super pissed off at them. But it was such a cheesy little ending where they're all just like, ha ha, just laughing like maniacs. So that, I thought, it's just super cheesy ending. Like, I don't know if they do that on purpose, because that's not the only time they did that. But I don't know if that's meant to be a reference to like the old stuff, because they didn't do it in the old Transformers, but that's definitely old G.I. Joe. Like, G.I. Joe was the one that was like truly famous for doing that stupid crap where it's like, whole episode happens, you get like 20 whatever minutes, and then they get to the end, and it's like, yeah, I guess, some stupid pun about Cobra Commander, some super dumb joke, and it'll be like almost the whole team, because G.I. Joe is like 5 dozen people, it seems sometimes, and it'll be like half a dozen people to almost a full dozen people, and everyone will just start laughing for no good reason. Like, that was not funny at all. And then it's they just all have the super cheesy ending laugh, and then of course G.I. Joe had all their PSAs and all that stuff too. But it's still a fun episode. It's just like the cheesiest ending ever. I was like, they're just laughing it up. He wasn't even making a joke. He was just making an analogy, really. Like, that's what it's like. Like, you're so angry that you don't even have enough space to contain your rage. And then they just bust out laughing. But like I said, it was almost a little bit worth it just to see Dinobot like these idiots. I freaking hate them sometimes. So it was almost a little bit worth it for that. But still a fun episode. Certainly enjoyed going off of the Optimus thing, getting to see another one of the Maximals kind of go into, I mean, he wasn't really in angry mode. He was kind of just like sarcastic a-hole mode. Like, Optimus was in like a true rage. Rhinox was kind of just a bit of an a-hole a little bit, where it's like, oh, really? And he was just like, the whole episode was him being sarcastic and doing stuff behind the scenes. So, when he finally gets busted, he does flat out fight them, and he's, like I said, he's so strong, he just beats everybody anyway. So it was still really fun to see all that stuff play out, and Optimus being like, he's so effing tough, I'm pretty sure Megatron screwed up by turning him into a Predacon. And he's like, yep, everything's fine. Megatron turned him into a Predacon, and then he turned him right back like, okay, you're effing stuff up, I gotta get rid of you. because you're beating me up, you're beating my allies up, you're destroying random stuff in the base. So it was still a really fun episode. Just then I think that was like the cheesiest ending though, because they did the joke thing before and it was super cheesy, but I guess I felt it was cheesier because it wasn't even a joke. Like I said, it was just he was just saying it's like this and this, and then they just thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, this is just so cheesy, but still a really fun episode. Naturally though, if you guys have any comments on it, please put your comments down in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.